So unless you've been living under a rock, you would know that in 2025, Clash Royale went massive. The game was already big and one of the biggest mobile games out there, but if you know, in 2025 the revenue went up massively and even surpassed the first time the game ever came out in terms of numbers and revenue. And if I'm being honest, I also really enjoyed a lot of the content that came out in the summer with jynxzi, Ken, Mr. Broyale, Ryley, all of these different content creators. It was actually a really good summer just because the Clash Royale space was just so much fun. Now recently there's been a lot of drama between a lot of the Clash Royale creators and, well, Supercell. If you guys don't know, Supercell are essentially the people who created the game. They're the team, they're the devs, whatever you want to call them. And if we're being honest here, a lot of the big reason as to why the revenue has gone so high and why Clash Royale has done so good in the first place is simply because of the creators like jynxzi especially, but also Ken, Mr. Broyale, all these people who are on different social media platforms. This is the big reason as to why Clash Royale has done so well over the last 6-7 months. Oh gosh, I didn't even mean for that to be a joke. So you would think that Supercell would, well, see the success of the game, recognize that the creators are a part of the reason, or the social media creators are part of the reason as to why the game is doing so well, and then essentially make the game better so they can make more content, so the game can do better, and it would be like a never-ending snowball, right? But for some reason, and actually I say for some reason, we all know the reason why: it's money. Supercell has been implementing changes that have been exactly the antithesis of what the fan base has wanted, what creators have said would make the game a lot better. And if we're being honest, we have been giving Supercell the benefit of the doubt for a really, really long time now. The truth is, I believe in around April or May of 2025, that was when jynxzi started playing the game publicly, and that is when the game's revenue exploded. And even then, the game was not balanced at all. We still had many unbalanced evos, many really bad metas like the Goblin Giant Evo P.E.K.K.A meta, and they just played into this the entirety of 2025, even before Heroes came out, right? They're releasing so many overpowered evos, making them pay to win for like the first month they were out and then immediately nerfing them. And this formula was extremely obvious to pretty much everyone that they just don't really care. And to be honest, this formula, as bad as it was working because it's, you know, evos are still kind of cool, they're still kind of fun, and you get to use them every now and then, which kind of gives you that small dopamine hit. But the issue is with Heroes is that you play them so constantly, it's just constantly unbalanced and really unfun to play. They just don't fit in the game in general. They look like they're from Agatha, is that what it's called? Agatha? They just don't fit the game's aesthetic at all, and they seem almost AI generated. They just seem like a useless addition to a game that already has heroes and champions, which were way cooler anyway and were already integrated into the game. It seems like Supercell just in general doesn't understand what made the game great in the first place, and or are ignoring it publicly by stating that it was due to the release of Heroes. Yeah, it's just not true. And this is another reason as to why you have creators like Molai and jynxzi just completely trashing on the game now, because they realize that Supercell is not at all grateful for the support that they gave the game.
It exploded. That is extraordinarily rare in our industry. This is the best part. It is proof of what's possible when a talented team relentlessly focuses on making things better for players. The obvious question, what did the team do? I have a couple of things I can say that they did.
That implemented level 16 and heroes, which killed the game. Your team, your talented team, murdered the game. They killed the game. They did not do shit to cause this. If this was the result of the talented team, you would have saw explosive numbers in years prior.
They're just not grateful at all. They are not recognizing it. They are completely ignoring it and diverting it and saying that the poor changes that were introduced into the game are the reason as to why the game did well in the first place, which is just, again, the complete opposite. And I think the main issue with all of this is that they are just completely not talking about how there was just more growth and reach coming from social media platforms like YouTube and TikTok, where people were just making more memes, making more content about Clash Royale, and that's why the game actually became better. There was nothing good that was implemented at the end of 2024 or at the beginning of 2025, even before jynxzi joined the game. And even then, the huge explosion of Clash Royale was not around late 2024 or early 2025. It was May 2025 when the game really started doing really well. Don't get me wrong, again, content creators like Ken and Mr. Broyale were growing, but it's really when jynxzi put the game in front of everybody's eyes to where it just became a trend. So I think jynxzi's take is completely understandable. I don't think that he's being big-headed or, up himself. I think it's completely valid for him to be annoyed at the fact that they just didn't mention him or creators just in general. And I think jynxzi's concerns are entirely valid as well, because when you have a creator like jynxzi, he's just so entirely versatile. And when you have other creators, and again, this is not a shot at other creators, but for most people who especially don't have millions and millions and millions of subscribers and are not one of the biggest creators on streaming platforms, they will not be able to switch over to different games as easily as jynxzi is able to, right? His audience is loyal to him and will be entertained by him regardless of what game he plays, and other creators just don't have that luxury. So you are essentially taking away their ability to make money over time because of the fact that you can't fix your game. They can't adapt to another game. Their audience might not be able to adapt to another game. So you're essentially ruining their livelihood and their ability to have YouTube as a source of income because of the fact that you guys are too selfish as as video game creators to make good changes. It's just silly. That's the big overarching issue here. A textbook representation of why games die, and series like, for example, Call of Duty, who just completely ignore their fan base and what they want and instead just go with the money route, right? This is how so many games die, and I feel bad because a lot of these content creators are extremely talented and actually really, really funny. Clash Royale simply just can't be bothered to make or maintain a pretty easy formula that wasn't that good anyway. Again, like I said, the evos were already unbalanced. To go even further than that and upset a community that were already putting up with you putting out constantly overpowered cards every single month, you have to really mess up for the Clash Royale community to not like you. People are already putting up with you giving really overpowered evos every single month to pay to win players, and we still put up with it. Supercell just messed up, and it feels like they're okay with letting the game die at this point. The game is over 10 years old. It's crazy because the change between, wow, this game is doing absolutely amazing, even from around November of 2025, which wasn't too long ago, to now people saying this game is essentially just not going to live anymore. There's just no way that this game can ever get better. It's uncurable, essentially. It's just crazy how quickly that switch happened, just because of a few simple changes that Supercell could easily remove. I'll be honest, obviously they won't do this, but they could easily just remove heroes, genuinely. Maybe refund some gems, some coins, whatever. And I'm telling you, 99% of the community would be happy. This isn't a change that is extremely difficult to make, and if anything, it was much easier to make when they were just implemented. Now it's kind of late, and it's entirely valid. I mean, even people thought that what Molite said was out of hand. I do think it was slightly out of hand. What Molite said, I think that wasn't a very PR trained answer, but the message still stands that essentially the employees are just not listening. It's completely ridiculous. And I really do hope the game dies. I've stopped playing. I've deleted the game. Yeah.